On this episode, we are talking once again to friend of the program, Matthew Kane. He's been on the show twice before. The first time he was on, episode 122, he was just a year into the business. He had just sold 40 homes as a new agent, and he told the story of how he was able to sell 40 homes his first year. That's actually our third most listened to episode ever. Then he came on again after year number 2, which was episode 150, and he talked about how he doubled his sales. He went to 80 sales in a year, all by himself. How did he do it? And now he's coming back to share with you how he sells over 100 homes as a solo agent, but he's also building out a form of a sales team that's super interesting. He crushes it. He was a full-time firefighter for the majority of his career, and he's still selling over 100 homes. Matthew Kane is coming back on the show. Let's go. What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 226 of the Massive Agent Podcast. I am your host, Dustin Brohm. Man, we're bringing back a guest for the third time. I think he's our first third-time guest, Matthew Kane. He is one of your favorites. I get more comments, more messages, more feedback from Matthew's episodes than really any other. He's been on twice before, episode 122 and 150. And as you heard in the intro, what that was all about, go check those out, okay? He is steadily progressing every single year and growing like crazy, and he's just coming back on the show to share how he's doing that. So if you're a brand new agent, go back and listen to episode 122. If you've been in the business for a minute and you're trying to figure out how do I double my sales, go listen to episode 150. And if you feel like you're firing on all cylinders and it's time to grow and scale, this is the episode. This one right here, he's going to tell you how he does it. And he's going to break down his schedule. You know, what does he do each day? What do his mornings look like? What does he focus his time on? What does he outsource? And how is he building a team? In the intro, I kind of teased that he has a form of a sales team. Yeah, it's just different. Most of you guys are at brokerages that really only allow or support one type of, let me rephrase that. It's really only possible to do, because of the business model, really only possible to do a traditional sales team. And that's the majority of the industry. Totally fine. Well, Matt saw the opportunity to build something slightly different. He's still a solo agent, but he's also a team leader. So he will explain what that is all about. What I really respect about Matt is for the first over 2 years of his career, he was a full-time firefighter. He was a full-time firefighter while being a full-time real estate agent. And he did both very, very well, obviously. And he was able to juggle and manage, having two careers. He's since retired from the fire department and focuses, only on the real estate business. And he's really just grown like crazy. I know he has some stuff in the works that he didn't even talk about today, but he's just someone who's doing big things. He's an executor. He's an action taker, probably, more than anyone I personally know. And so I'm super excited to bring him back on the show. Before we get started, guys, if you are going to scale like Matt has done, like so many others have done, so many of our other guests, you need the tools to do so. And if you're just using the same spreadsheets or the same cheap CRM that you were using when you first got into the business, what got you here will not get you there. You need new tools. You need systems. You need stuff that you don't even know about yet. There are things and systems and processes that you don't know you need until you get to a certain point. And then you're like, oh shit, I wish I had this. Well, there are people who are ahead of you. There are people who are a few steps ahead that have already built these things. So go check out Follow Up Boss. They have everything you need if you're trying to scale your business, and maybe you want to start hiring agents yourself. Maybe you're just trying to double your sales. You're trying to have fewer leads, fewer deals fall through the cracks. You just want to be better organized and better on top of your contacts, their birthdays, anniversaries, closing deadlines, all that stuff. You need Follow Up Boss. And they are going to give you a free 30-day free trial. No credit card required. None. So just go to massiveagentpodcast.com/follow-up-boss. massiveagentpodcast.com/follow-up-boss and get the 30-day free trial. Leave your wallet. Don't need it. Go check it out. Use it. See why the vast majority of top producers and teams in the industry use and rely on Follow Up Boss. Go check it out for yourself. It could be the key that you've been looking for to actually grow and double and hit the goals that you have planned for this year. let's get into the episode with Matthew Kane right now. All right, guys, I'm here with Matthew Kane out of Wilmington, North Carolina. How's it going, man? Welcome back to the show.
Here. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Well, we had to have you back. The other day, you did an amazing training for our team, for our greater, team within our brokerage, and it's you've just built such an incredible business in a relatively short period of time. You've been on the show before. This is your third episode. Let's see, you were back on episode 122 and episode 150 after your first year, after your second year, and then you're around your third year, right?
Year 3 with our firm. So here we are.
Your third full year?
Going on my third full year with EXP. Yeah.
Awesome. And you just keep growing. You're selling what, 100 homes a year or more now. Yeah. And awesome. I just wanted to have you on to share what it is you're doing, because it's nothing crazy and you've been so boringly consistent that it shows up in your bank account and is not boring at all. So where do you want to start, man? What are you doing? What do you do on a daily basis? How have you built this business in just a few years?
For those of you guys who don't know me, Dustin said I'm down in the Wilmington, North Carolina market. I'm in my third year of real estate, kind of wrapping up my third year in real estate in general. I started out in inside sales in real estate. Prior to real estate, I had absolutely zero sales experience. I was a business consultant at one point, Marine sniper before that, so have no business in the sales world. I just kind of picked up on a few things. I do them right, and I do them consistently. I got my first year in real estate. I was a full-time firefighter, sold about 40 homes that year. Met with a few of our coaches, implemented a few changes, continued to do the same thing that I was doing with those changes, and doubled that up to about 80 homes. And I'm now at the point where I'm selling over 100 homes a year as an individual, and looking to grow the team a little bit.
I love it, man. And it seems like, who you get advice from matters. You plugged into what we have going on with our brokerage and our team, and that gives you access to certain people that have built very high powered sales teams, people that are selling, 500, 600, 700 homes a year, and they structure things a certain way. You've been able to just have access to them as mentors and as partners. How has that helped? And not only how has it helped, but what have they, you did great your first year, 40 homes sold, 80 homes sold your second year. What have they taught you? What have you learned from these mentors that have helped you get to where you're now at?
Yeah. So a lot of questions
there, but take it wherever you want.
I'm super competitive, so I don't have the personality where if I'm selling 40, then why the hell didn't I sell 80 kind of thing? Or why is this person in our town selling 120 and I'm only selling 100? That's just how I am. I'm super competitive. And I happen to fall into our little team, our organization here, and I fell into the right place. Didn't take advantage of it at all for the first year. I think I actually reached out to you at the end of my first year. It's like, who the heck can I talk to that can help me take it to the next level? And you introduced me to my mentor, Clayton Gitz, out of Virginia. And I sat down with Clayton for 2 hours, and he tore my business apart and, called me out for everything that I had wrong. And I think I'm one of the few people that actually listened and did what he told me to do. And I think he appreciates that as well, because I'm sure that he probably spends most of his days telling agents what they need to be doing, but no one's actually doing it. And he was in my shoes at one point where he's done this over 15 to 20 years. And he's basically opening up his playbook for what's taken him 15 to 20 years to do, so I can do it in 5. So really just listening to him, continuing to do what I consider the foundation of real estate, really lead generate at a very high level, and basically outsourcing, leveraging everything that is not moving the needle for me.
Describe that a bit. What are you focusing your time on, and what do you outsource?
I focus my time So what feeds my family is lead generation. Really what feeds any real estate business, in my opinion, is lead generation, because transactions are not going to fall into your lap. Some people might be lucky and might have that network. I am in a market that I had zero network in. So everything that I worked was Facebook ads, Google ads, Zillow, Realtor, you name it, I've done it, and kind of just found out which ones work best for me over time. But I've done it consistently for 2 to 3 hours a day, every morning, on the weekends, for the past 3 years. And it's now at a point where I'll look at my phone at the end of this interview, and I'll have 30 messages from clients. So I don't necessarily need to be doing that anymore, but the fact that I am doing it is what's going to help me continue to grow my business. Whereas some people kind of get a client, hyper-focus in on that client, and try their hardest to find that buyer a home. I get that client and continue to lead generate and lead generate and lead generate until the point where I have 20 to 30 of those clients that are all ready to buy that home. So then when I see a home that comes up on the market, I can send it to all of them. And 90% of the time, one of them is ready to commit to it. So it's really just been consistent lead generation. That's really where I focus all of my time and energy. And then after I get a home under contract, I'm outsourcing that entire transaction coordination piece to my TC. And I'm also in the process of hiring a personal assistant, and she's going to do everything and anything else that I need, from social media marketing, inputting transactions, sending contracts to my transaction coordinator. Anything that comes up, it's her responsibility. Yeah.
I love that. And isn't that one of the biggest changes you made after your first year? Because you did everything yourself while a full-time firefighter in year one, right?
Terrible decision.
Yeah. And you still sold 40 homes, which is...
And I'm selling 80 now. I'm half as stressed out.
Yeah.
So go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so telling right there. So in the morning, every morning, you do this... you call it lead gen time. I hear this from every top producer that you've got to have a dedicated amount of time every day to prospecting. And that looks different for everybody. What's interesting about what you've built and how you've done it, Matt, is you're not a big content creator guy. Like, you're not out there doing Instagram reels. You post some photos every now and then, like what you and your family are up to, which is great, to add that personal connection there. But you're not doing this through YouTube videos, through reels, through content. You're doing this, I guess you could call it the old fashioned way. So if you could zoom out a little bit and just describe how you generate leads, where the majority of your business comes from and has come from in the past, when you were really first starting out, what does that look like?
So kind of, as I said before, I'm not in a market where I had deep roots at all. So as I started in real estate, I had a lender that was committed to me, willing to split a little bit of Zillow with me. So I had that going for me. That got me a couple transactions that first year. Outside of that, it was, I did Facebook seller ads, and I did Homes for Heroes. So those are my three things. My three things in year one. Homes for Heroes just worked really well because it was in the fire department network. So sort of a no-brainer to get some clients. And those were clients that were friends of mine. And I learned great clients, great people. But I learned that working with friends and family is not always the easiest thing to do. So I did shift a little bit away from that. Ultimately, kind of where I'm at now with lead sources is really, I'm big on Google pay-per-click, Google local ad services. I still have some Zillow, some Realtor, but those are few and far between. And then it's every single person that I talk to. It's like, I don't have my iPad next to me right now, but pretty much the entire day I do. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. I write it down, and I write where they live. I enter those people into my CRM, and I set them up on automated campaigns. Every single person I can think of is in my CRM and set up in that manner. And people don't realize that even if they tell you, hey, I have no interest in buying or selling a home, at some point they will. And the fact that I'm hammering them for years, it's just starting now to convert a lot of clients, and most of your competition is probably not doing that. I actually had that come to fruition this past weekend for me on 3 occasions. I got 3 houses under contract this past weekend. And one of them was I represented his mother, who's elderly, so I'd be communicating with the son a lot as well, because he was kind of helping her. And I knew he owned a property out in Wrightsville Beach, which is like the premier area. 500 square foot condos cost $500,000-$600,000 there. And I knew he owned a property there. And so I entered him to the CRM. I put him on a property alert for that exact little building that he lived in. And for almost a year and a half, it had sent him every single thing that came up, went live, went pending, closed in that development. And this past Saturday, one went live for far more than anything else has in the past. And he said, he finally, after a year and a half, responded to me and said, Matthew, if this sale is legitimate, we need to talk. And I gave him a call and said, if you can get me that amount, I will list my property with you and sell it to the first buyer. Within an hour, I called the listing agent that had that other listing, said, hey, did you have any other backup offers, or are there any other interested buyers in that property? She said, yep, I have 3. I said, ask which one of them will take this property at X amount of dollars, which is just the unit right above yours. 2 of them responded. That property was under contract within 2 hours of me having that phone call. No marketing expenses, no anything. A simple automated message turned into a $15,000 commission check. Yeah,
that's awesome. And it's such a simple thing. Like we hear this from day one when you get into real estate. Like, you've got to stay in touch with your network, and you have to continue building your network, your sphere. And you do that religiously through your CRM. You put them on drip campaigns or whatever. Do you do like weekly newsletters or anything like that? Or is it just all automated
It's
stuff?
just the weekly newsletters take creating content, which it's not my forte. I should be hiring somebody to do that as well. Maybe that's the next step to consider, but pretty much every transaction that I get, it's as soon as I get somebody in my CRM, they're assigned to tasks. Once I hit that task, I'll set a follow-up task 2 weeks later or a month later or whatever it is. And I continue to do those tasks. I do 30 to 50 a day, and it turns into business. Another one of the clients that I had go under contract this past week. I actually screenshotted it for that next class that we're doing up in Richmond. I have 16 unresponded to text messages in a row. And then she called me on Friday and said, Matthew, you just sent me this property. Please set up a showing. I'm interested in submitting a cash offer. Yeah, that's just continuing. Most people will quit after not getting a response after 2 to 3 text messages or calls. I never even called her, but I texted her 16 times.
And other agents say the leads are bad.
Yeah. That's a pay-per-click lead. That's all that was, a $5 lead. Yeah.
Awesome. There's so many directions I want to take this. So early on, what you talked about in episode 122 and 150, you're religious about building your Google reviews, right? And so you do a lot of Google PPC now. If you were to just start cold right now, you'd never done shit on Google, and you just started doing it, would you have the same success? Can you have the same success? Or did you really have to build the foundation over the last year or two?
The foundation has helped, but you really don't have to do much other than pay. Google pay-per-click, that's basically just having somebody who knows how to advertise your website and using the right keywords to drive people to your site. So that has nothing to do with your reviews, so to speak. But the Google local services,
right,
that's going to populate a list of, I don't know, 5 to 10 realtors. Whenever somebody searches, Wilmington, North Carolina real estate, it's going to come up with 5 to 10 realtors, and the ones who pay the most are going to the top of that list. It gives you an option of how much you want to spend per call or per lead or whatever they call it. But you might be at the very top of that list. You could pay $100 for a lead. If you don't have reviews, I bet they're going to click on number 2. So I have a very good combination of medium ad budget, but I have 100 plus positive reviews, nothing but 5-star. They're going to call me first.
Yeah. That makes all the sense in the world. And it's yet another reminder of why there's so many things in this business that are simple and you need to do them, but agents are not doing them because they're looking for a quick fix. They're looking for the right now business. Who can I pay to get clients in my lap today that are ready to close tomorrow?
It's also what do you do with those clients after they close? What's the follow-up plan look like?
Right. What's the
follow-up plan look like? Every single person that you close, if you're not collecting a review from them, you're completely wrong, unless it was a terrible transaction that you just feel better off not talking to them ever again.
Right. Yeah, don't get a review from the bad one.
Being just the way the real estate market is today, these people that I sold a house to 2 years ago, they're already considering selling and walking away with a ton of equity. So every single deal that I close, they're set up on a property alert specific to their house in their development so they can see what other homes in their neighborhood are selling for. And they basically are just watching their property appreciate over the past 2 years. And I'm the one that's constantly giving them that update. So they're gonna reach out to me first. And on top of that, I'm also, for every single one of my clients, and this is more in the weeds, but I signed them up for a company called, it's the personal marketing company. And they call it like a 5-year power plan, where as soon as they close, they get something in the mail from them. And then I think it's the 15th of every month, they get, it's like a newsletter or something that's branded to me and it looks really good. But that's 5 years of more touches. And then I'm also setting them up on what's called Lolo, which is basically local gifts that cost like $1 a client a month. I think I spend $150 to $200 a month on this. And what's that's doing is, if Dustin just bought a house with me, every month on the first of the month, he's going to get a gift from me. And it's normally like a free coffee, a free pastry, a free whatever. But the cost is next to nothing to do. And it's just, that right there is 2 touches a month for people that I'm really not communicating with that much anymore.
That's crazy. And that's called Lolo?
Yeah, check that one out. It's only in specific markets.
Yeah, that's a good one for it.
Wilmington is one of the markets they do, but I'm sure most cities with a local kind of vibe, that's where they are.
Well, I hope people get the concept of what you're doing there. Like you're just staying in touch with them in different ways. So if they're on an email drip campaign, cool. That's a hell of a lot better than nothing. And obviously that can produce results and has for you. Then if you show up in their news feed, that's even better. You show up in their mailbox, even better. If it's a gift that shows up in their mailbox, even better. And if you're doing all of them, they're never going to even think of another agent. So even if they don't ever need one, they're going to know someone who does, a family member, a friend, a neighbor, and they're going to be like, "Oh, you got to call Matt." Like, "Oh my God, he's the best. He's everywhere," because you're everywhere for them. And it sounds like you kind of nailed this.
And some of the things other members of our team are doing, I'm not doing it as well as I should be, but having annual pie parties, and Clayton does like his gingerbread house competition and stuff like that, where they can bring their friends and family and kind of partake. They're just touch points, and they're touching them in different ways, and different ways will register with different people. So hopefully it'll increase your level of conversion.
That's awesome. What have you transitioned into this year for to scale? you're still a solo agent, but you're also building a sales team, aren't you? Or somewhat of a partnership. What is Tidal Realty Partners, and what's coming next from what you're currently building?
It's I mean, as you know, we have a really unique model at our firm. So what we basically have done is three high producing agents have come together, shared overhead and shared responsibility over a formal real estate team. That way, because every real estate agent is going to do things completely differently, and we have a really good mix of how I'm online lead gen. Other members are very relational. So no matter what, a new agent comes in and joins our team, they're going to get coaching from an avenue that's going to work for them. And I think you actually kind of put this in my head where, what's the best form of lead generation? It's whatever works for you and doesn't make you hate yourself every single day. So you gotta do what makes you happy and what works. Yeah. And for a lot of people, online lead generation is not going to be it. But right. Maybe reaching out to your network, sphere, your church, whatever. Maybe that's the route that you want to take, and we have people on our team that can help with that. So it's a unique model because the three of us are all incentivized to not only coach and help these teammates, but also through our revenue share program, we're also incentivized through that.
You can't do that model everywhere, and that's it's cool. The reason I ask is it's so important that people listening understand what else is out there, what other options you have for structuring your business, structuring a team. There's so many different types of teams that you can build depending on where you're at. You can't do it at every brokerage, but ours, because of the model, just has more options for how you structure things, how you compensate people, how you incentivize them, all of that you just can't do it at a lot of other places. And so I just want people to understand there are so many different ways to structure a team, but it starts with defining what you want.
Yeah, and that was that's a challenge in itself, is figuring out what you want.
Go ahead.
And that's something that I've been on the fence on forever. Is I am super, super competitive. And for me, in order to really be a true team leader, that means you're giving up some of your sales. You're giving up your sales. Ultimately, your goal should be to fade away from sales, and your team takes the sales. So you would need to be comfortable giving away as much business. Basically, everything you don't need to survive should be going to supporting your team. In this new model kind of that we've created and that we're working with, that's not a requirement, because I have other team members, other partners to help me support the team. So it's beneficial for us as partners, and it's also beneficial for the team members.
That's great. That's great. So now that you're into your third year, what do you wish that you knew back when you started? Something that you know now. What do you wish you knew when you were getting started, or when you were, year number one?
I would say, if I were to go back in time, I'm just thinking of year number one and how horrible that was for me. Doing 40 transactions all by myself, I would say that you're not going to be the best at doing every part of a transaction. So there's absolutely no reason to hold on to it all. You kind of got to figure out what it is that your value is, and where it is that you're most important and most needed. It might be showing houses, it might be listing appointments. Mine's behind a computer and a screen, messaging and calling. That's where my value is. That's ultimately what I'm good at. I can do the listing presentations, the buyer consultations. I can do all that too, but those don't happen without me being behind a computer. So I need to be outsourcing as much as possible to other people who are better at processing a transaction, for example. Because I am absolutely not the best at processing a transaction. I can barely even remember what's on my calendar. Nonetheless, what's going on with the 25 to 30 contracts that I have going at all times, I can't possibly remember it all. So in order to get to that point, you really need to start outsourcing where you're not needed. Yeah.
Right. And didn't I hear that you have like 20 something buyers under contract right now? Like 23 or something?
Under contract last week, 26 buyers under contract. I closed a bunch of them out already over the first 2 days this week, but I've gotten 4 more houses under contract since Sunday. So I should be right back around that, right back around that mark. That's kind of where I try to.
So you cap in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to cap in 2 to 3 weeks this year.
That's awesome.
And I already, I'm starting the year off with Icon in the pipeline, which is a pretty amazing thing to know that, you're going into this year being paid by your firm, not the other way around. It's you're going to get money back from your firm and quite a bit of it. Yeah,
absolutely. I love that, man. So you're obviously very successful getting buyers under contract, and it's a major struggle and pain point for a lot of agents right now is how the hell do you compete with buyers? How are you doing it? What tips do you have for getting these buyers under contract that can help somebody that's really struggling?
I would start with working the masses. You've got to, if you are the kind of person that I'm working with Dustin, Dustin's my close friend, I'm going to find him a house, I'm going to exhaust every single effort I have to finding Dustin a house, then you're going to end up spinning your wheels. I work with 30 Dustins at a time, and over time, my 30 Dustins will cycle out and they'll become more serious and they'll grow frustrated up until the point where they will do anything to secure a home. Those are the people that I want to work with. And I work with so many leads that I'm able to basically create my A buyer list of people who I know are going to waive the appraisal. They're going to go all in on a coming soon listing sight unseen. I know who those people are, and those are the ones that I work with. The other ones, they're kind of warming a little bit. I'm still showing them houses. I'm still submitting offers, but ultimately they're losing a lot because they're not quite at that point yet. And then I'm doing a lot of new construction right now because new construction in our market, it's very much still a first come, first serve basis. So I'm reaching out to all these builders before these houses are even released and saying, hey, give me your cut sheet. Tell me what properties are coming, or tell me what you're building right now and what phase they're in. Because I know, do you guys have D.R. Horton where you live? America's Builder?
Yeah.
I know they release homes in our market at stage 6. So the rep that I work with will send me a list of everything that they have coming. And I will see 10 properties in phase 5. And then I'll say, okay, I have these 3 buyers. This one will take this house, and this house. Here is their offer. Here is their pre-approval. Take it as a yes, as long as this price does not exceed this amount of money. And as soon as it's released, my offer,
and the builder agent loves it.
Check, everything's already there. Done. Yeah.
That's great. Go deeper into that, because I know there's a lot of agents that'll just say, well, how do you have to build a relationship with these people first? Like, what else?
Those are commission-based sales agents. They want nothing more than your business. I think they get 2%. Most builders rep will get like 1.5 to 2%. This builder specifically pays 2%. So if I say, hey, I'm working with 20 buyers right now, give me your list of what's coming. No sales rep is going to prevent you from getting that list. What they're not going to give you is the price, because they can't price them in this market until homes are next to completed with the crazy changes in materials and things like that. So I'm just reaching out to them, say, give me your cut sheet. When do you think this will transition from phase 5 to phase 6? And I present the offer when it's not on the market. And that way they're excited, because now when they're out at their development showing houses, they already know that they have an offer from Matthew Kane on this property and this property and this property. do you think that they're going to take those prospective buyers that they have come into those 3 properties, or they're going to try to sell them something different? They're going to go with something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Because they want to sell everything and get every single commission check.
So really, you're just proactive as hell. Like you're just proactive. You get in there. You're not afraid to, go against the grain, so to speak. Everyone just waits till something pops on the MLS.
That's the
right. That's a problem.
I don't even look at things. I mean, shame on me. I don't even look at things that are on the MLS anymore. The only time I'll look at the MLS is if I'm looking at properties that are coming soon, that are on hold, or that have once in a blue moon, I'll find something that's expired. And I'll call, if I have a client for them, I'll call that homeowner directly, ask them for a 1-day listing, bring them a buyer. One's on hold. They're typically on hold for a reason. Maybe they're building a house that's delayed. That's something I've encountered quite a bit. I'll call the listing agent and say, hey, what's going on? Why is this property on hold? Let's say, hey, their construction just got pushed back 6 months. Say, I get it. Here's what I'm proposing. My client wants the house. He's happy to pay $10,000 over what you were asking, and he'll give you a lease back for 6 months or until your property's completed, free of charge. If we send you that offer, will your client sign? And chances are you're giving them everything they want, and they have peace of mind that their property's sold, and you've just enabled your buyer to lock in an interest rate sooner rather than later. Yeah,
that's right. That's huge. What tips do you have for agents who are in bidding wars, that they are dealing with, this craziness?
Yeah.
Are you involved in those much anymore? And when you are, like, what tips do you have for winning those?
I'm involved in them. I get involved with them. I don't want to be involved with them. I try to avoid that at all costs, as I think everybody does. But nonetheless, it happens. And when I feel like going into those, I feel like I've already failed if I've let it get to that point already. Because most clients that I have, I'm able to find in the house without the craziness. We try to, go for those coming soons and things like that. We come in strong, over ask, to give that seller a win. My buyer knows it's truly a win because they're not wanting to get in a bidding war. And it just kind of creates a win-win, and we're able to do it without getting into that. This past weekend, though, for example, I had a cash buyer. The property came on the market on Saturday. There was no offers on Saturday. I went on Sunday, and of course, we have multiple offers coming in on Sunday. And I said, do you have anything in your inbox at this point? And he said, no, not yet, but I'm expecting 3 this evening. I said, well, great. I'm going to piece mine together in the next 20 minutes. I'm going to have it in your inbox with an expiration of 2 hours from now. It was extremely strong offer. It was 30,000 over ask, which is strong in our market. And the way that I word the email is typically, hey, clients love your house. It's number 1 on their list, but with the craziness of this market, we need an answer within the next 2 hours, or we need to pursue another house. Please respect the timeline. It's not meant to pressure you, but my clients need an answer, because if this isn't going to work out, we need to pursue another house. And if a seller gets an offer on the table, $30,000 over asking, with a timeline of 2 hours, and those other offers haven't came in yet, they're probably going to go with yours, especially if you present it in a manner that's not, it's not you bullying them, it's you looking out for your clients, because your clients are desperate to buy, and they have a backup property that they're considering, even if they really don't. Yeah.
That's great. Yes. Yeah. I just recently sold my house, and so being on that side of things, it's crazy. And I'm thinking like a seller. Absolutely. Like if I had somebody come in that strong, and you can't also ask for closing costs get paid, and it's got to be like a very aggressive, very strong offer. Then the seller's going to be like, well, why? If I wait, I'm hoping to get an offer like this. But if I have one right here, let's just cut out the bullshit. Let's go. And so I could see that working more often than not.
And there's a few other things that go into it too, especially in those multiple offers. if you're not calling and texting and emailing that agent, you're dead. Like that is, if you don't try to at least build a friendly relationship and make that agent know how easy of a transaction it's going to be, you might as well consider yourself dead in the water, because you're just going to be an offer in the inbox unless you are something crazy. Even if I get an offer that's crazy and that agent hasn't even called me or done anything other than emailed me an offer, I don't even know what to think, because they haven't expressed any excitement or given me any reason to think that this deal is as good as it seems. When I'm presenting offers, not only am I calling them, being happy-go-lucky, letting them know how easy it's going to be to work with this buyer and myself, and that they're excited as hell kind of thing, I'm also having my lender call them. My lender's calling them and telling them, hey, these guys are fully approved. We've already got them through underwriting. There is going to be no hiccups. The only condition to this offer is a good appraisal. It's just putting in that extra effort. Yeah.
That's it. Of the 12 or 13 offers we had on my house, 3 agents called me to find out what the seller's needs were. And it's amazing how many of them didn't even realize that I was also the owner, even though it says it all over the damn listing, like agent owner everywhere. So I told them, they're like, oh, okay. They were actually like happy. They're like, cool, this makes it easier. Like, no bullshit. But 3 agents called, and the one that actually got the house, they were one that called, and their offer was 20 grand less than the highest offer. But like you said, that highest offer didn't seem serious, because I didn't hear a damn word from the agent. They just sent it. It seems less serious. It's like, is this even a serious offer? And are they just throwing out 50 other offers today too? That's what I was thinking, because I didn't get any interaction with them whatsoever. No attempts made. It's crazy.
I literally, right before this call,
crazy.
I just submitted an offer right before we got on here, and basically called the agent, let them know their situation, let them know that they're ecstatic, that they've been waiting for a house in this neighborhood to pull up, to show up for the past year and a half. And this one was listed as a coming soon. And basically that there's the same conversation. What could I offer you today that your seller would agree to take it off the market before it actually hits the market? And she said, hey, we need a closing by May 26th. They want to see strong due diligence, appraisal waiver, and they're looking for right around this amount if you want us to sign today. Sent it back to my clients, and the thumbs up. Yeah, done. And at that point, she has communicated what they will accept, and now I'm going to give them what they will accept.
Yeah. It's so simple. And so few agents are willing to do it. And that's why you're winning at such a high level. Crazy. But Matt, I appreciate you coming on the show today, man, for the 3rd time. It's really cool to watch what you've built, what you are building, and how you've grown, and how you're now transitioning to building a business and not just, doing transactions solo. You're still doing that at a very high level, but it's cool, man. So I appreciate your time today. I appreciate you sharing. If anyone wants to connect with you, learn more about you and what you're doing and how you're doing it, what's the best way to find you?
Best way to find and connect with me is on Facebook at Coastal Carolina's Favorite Agent.
Nice. Instagram
same
as well?
Same handle.
Not really. Love it. Cool, man. And we'll link to your social media in the show notes, and if you're watching on YouTube, in the description. So Matt, appreciate you coming on the show, my friend.
Have a good one, and pleasure as always.
Well, there you heard it, guys. Matthew Kane from Wilmington, North Carolina, an absolute rock star real estate agent, doing so many things right, but he's not doing so many things. Okay, he's so focused on what works, and he's done that from the beginning. Something that I respect so much about what he's done and how he's done it is he doesn't get distracted by bullshit. He doesn't get distracted by. He's not a big content creator like we talked about. He wasn't like, oh, Instagram Reels, I should probably go do that. It would help him, but he knows that where his money is made is in the prospecting and the online lead gen. So that's what he focuses on. Okay. That's what he focuses on. He's done it so well, and look what he's built. He focuses on getting reviews and getting those reviews in the right place and doing a hell of a job for his clients. And it just keeps growing. So I'm looking forward to next year. We'll have Matt on the show again to talk about what his fourth year looks like and how much he's been able to grow since this episode. Hope you guys took something away from this, learned something, were inspired to do something. Hopefully you learned about a new way of creating a sales team, if that's what you want to do, a new way of structuring it. It may or may not be possible where you're currently at. You're going to need to check with your broker on that to see what's possible with your brokerage or what makes financial sense with where you're at. But there are other ways to structure shit, guys. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so that's why it's important to listen to shows like this and listen to other top producers and learn how they do things and why they structured things a certain way, because then you realize, oh crap, maybe if I just make this little tweak, this little improvement, this little adjustment, it makes all the difference. And then you start growing and you start getting the results that you've been looking for. But so many of you guys beat your head against the wall over and over and over until you have this giant fucking goose egg on your forehead. And sometimes you need to pivot, but you've got to have the perspective first. You need to learn from others who are ahead of you first. I know I'm preaching to the choir. This is why you listen to the show. This is why you were listening to this podcast to begin with. So kudos to you for doing that. Guys, thank you for listening. Please share this with anyone that you think would get value from it. Share it with your team leader. Share it with your agent partners. Share it with your friends, your broker, anyone else within your brokerage. If you got value from it, other agents will too. Please don't be the one that keeps it from them. And it helps us to grow our audience and grow the show as well. And that is really all we ask for. This is a free podcast and will always be a free podcast. We ask that you pay the fee, pay it forward, share it out, and help us grow as best we can. Thank you guys so much. Have a great, great weekend. Go sell some homes. Have a good time with your friends and family. Talk to you guys soon.